Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're going to check out a couple new knives. We'll check this one out here in just a second. First, we're going to get to the Zilla. Now, I got to say, these things are very, very well done. They are well tuned all the way around. The detent is perfection. I can't express that enough. Once you break that detent when you open it, this thing kicks hard. The access to the lock bar is really good. The geometry of the blade is also really nice. It has a nice broad blade with a beautiful satin. This thing's going to pass through materials effortlessly, especially with these type of ergos that are super comfortable. Even the clip doesn't bother me. It looks like it would, but it doesn't. Now, in the hand, this G10 is very, very grippy. Offers a lot of traction. So with this traction and the grip I have, this thing's going to cut like a champ. So we have 154 CM blade steel. I personally love that blade steel. It's a great steel. I just don't really like it with a super fine edge. To me, I think it does best around 600 grit, 600 to 1,000 grit. It seems to hold its bite for the longest, in my opinion, and it's easy to strap back, easy to sharpen. Takes a really, really good edge with a lot of bite as long as you stay in that, that range of grit, and you can put whatever angle you basically want on it. A blade like this, I would, you could lay it back if you really wanted to. The plunge grind, it's deceptive. I think it ends about right here, so they do give you enough room to sharpen and to lay back the edge if you really want to like 15 degrees per side. I would stick around 17 degrees per side. About 600 to 1,000 grit would be fantastic on this. Now the drop, this thing is complete fall shut action. Man, this detent is so good. Solid detent. Very, very smooth. Now, don't forget, I do link everything down in the description. So if you're wanting to get any of these, or if you're wanting to check out some other affiliate sites that I'm affiliated with for discount codes or anything like that, everything's down in the description. Now, the clip is reversible, deep carry clip. I'm not a big fan of the screws. I wish they would have done flat screws or inset this. I know it keeps a nice clean look on this side, but I would have preferred that. Now, we do have steel liners that do have a lot of milling on the inside to bring down the weight. To me, it's not too heavy or anything. It's a solid knife. It is a full-size knife. The blade shape's fantastic for utility cuts, slicing, push cuts. This is just going to be a fantastic blade shape for EDC. Love the swedge on the top. We have a dual satin finish, so we have a satin going this direction right here, and then we have a regular belt satin here, and then you can see the swedge on the top. Very, very nice. There's jimping on the spine to lock you in. I do feel a little bit separated from the edge. That is one thing. I do kind of want to do this, but I can just use this as like a choil. One other weird thing is this little notch right here. If you look at the flipper tab, look at that. I don't know why that is the way it is, but it's like that for a reason. Where's the stop pin? Okay, so it's got internal stop pins. Love to see that. So if you ever did want to cut in a big finger choil, you absolutely could without an issue. Looks like we have plastic ceramic caged bearings, and you can see how they really cut out the inside for the track for the bearings to sit in. That is also taking away weight from the blade, and another reason why this thing drops so smooth. I have not oiled it or anything. This thing is crazy smooth, and Kaiser is the one doing the OEM work, so it makes sense. Kaiser does such a good job. They're knocking it out of the park. T8 hardware on the body screws, very nice. I love that. Nice strong hardware. T6 hardware strips really easily. So let's check out this next one now. Now this is the RATEL. Before we check this out, I want to say the packaging of these is also really nice. It comes in a sleeved box. When you open up the box, you got a nice pouch in there. Inside the pouch, you also have a coin. Both of these come with a coin, just a little different. The Zilla has a chameleon on its coin that's on a knife that's on a coin. And then the RATEL, is it RATEL? RATEL. RATEL, why did I say RATEL? RATEL has a badger. I think it's a badger on the knife that's on the coin. So that's pretty cool, you know. It makes for, this thing is so smooth. It makes for, you know, a nice packaging, a nice experience when you open up your knife. Now, this thing, holy cow, smooth. Again, both of them, extremely smooth. And again, the detent, perfection. They are knocking these detents out of the park, man. Let's look at the internals on this one. So this one doesn't have the cutout on the top like the Zilla did. But we do have, I think this is brass caged bearings in this one. The Zilla has I think it's I haven't taken it apart, and I could be wrong, but I think the Zilla has plastic caged bearings. Either way, they both have ceramic caged bearings. Just the cage is a little different in each one, and this one doesn't have the cutouts for the cage. But the action is still exceptional. Good access to the lock bar, perfect access to the lock bar, easy to disengage. Detent is nice and early, so it's very easy to get past. That's another thing. I didn't look at that in this one. Yeah, detent is nice and early on this one too. 154 cm steel again. You know, we spoke about that. We do have an American tanto here, and it's an American tanto because it has two straight edges. Japanese style tantos tend to not have either one, this acute of a tip, or they do, especially for folders, like So a Japanese style sword, tanto sword, is different than what we would get from a folder, but a Japanese style tanto for a folder normally has a rounded front edge up here. This one's nice and straight, which makes for this tip right here to work really good for utility cuts. So you can use this to open things up or whatever. But it has a nice flat area here for your slicing and push cuts. Nice robust spine that comes down to the tip, so you're not going to have to worry about breaking the tip, but it's still pokey enough, you know, if you wanted to open something up with it, or if you had to puncture into something, it's going to be a durable tip. You know, I guess that's kind of what they're for, you know, for puncturing without sacrifice of the tip. And, you know, I'm not recommending you do this, but, you know, some people like to use them for a little bit of light duty prying and scraping. But it will dull your edge right away. So I'm not telling you to do that. The choil plunge grind, it is separated. I do like to see that. They give you plenty of life to sharpen off of the edge. The G10, again, very grippy. It has some smoother parts and then a lot of traction in other parts. We have a reversible deep carry clip. Now, in this case, they did do flat screws. Nice. They did not inset it, but they put flat screws, so that's awesome. The coating on the blade, it's a stonewashed coating. I'm guessing it's a PVD coating. I'm guessing. That's just a guess. I don't know for sure, but it is a coating, and it has a nice stone wash on it, so it's nice and smooth. And that should help protect it from any corrosion or and some wear too. So not saying that you can't scratch the coating, but it'll help a little bit. Man, this thing is so smooth. The action on these are great. The ergos. Now, this is just me squeezing it. I'm not pushing it through any materials. Of course, after testing it, pushing it through materials, that would be a different story, right? But just gripping it, it's very comfortable in the hand. I do feel the clip a little bit, but it's not sharp on any of these edges that I feel right now. Now, that could change with me pushing it through materials. I can use the flipper tab. I can cover it up very nicely with my pointer finger for really hard use pushing cuts. The jimping on the spine, nice, perfect jimping. And I don't even think you always need jimping, but if you're going to have jimping, make it the right kind of jimping. This has a lot of traction without being too sharp. But then again, when I'm using it, that could change, so, but just from my initial first impressions. Stop pin, I wish it was bigger. I wish the stop pin was a little bit bigger. It's not tiny, it's not too small, but there's just something about when you see a stop pin and it's nice and robust, it makes you feel a little bit better, because that's what's stopping the blade when you're pushing through stuff from, going that way. Now, I don't think I've ever, you know what, I have seen them break before, but it's not common that they break or anything like that, so I don't think it's just fine. It's a perfectly acceptable stop pin. I just prefer them to look robust, and it makes you feel a lot more about the knife being robust. T8 hardware all the way around. Love to see that, except for the clip. The clip has T6s. And then the liners have a lot of weight relieving. So, nice weight to it. But yeah, this is going to be a great little work knife. So, there you guys go. Quick first impressions. I'll tell you what, man. I already knew I was going to be impressed because I've tried a couple of their knives already, and I have not been unimpressed yet. So, the designs are nice, and the execution on the build quality, fit, finish, action, detents have just been, they've knocked it out of the park every time. This thing kicks. So there you guys go. Just a quick first impressions. I will link everything I can down in the description for you guys. I love you guys. Peace.